All right, what's up? We got more Tbate. More Tbate today. But we got chapter 468. 468 is what we are going to be reacting to. But I pretty much don't have a whole lot to say about the last chapter. I got theories a little bit, just because based off of what happened in the last chapter, 467, where Arthur, reliving his life without actually being as powerful as he was before. I mean, it kind of brings open some discussion as far as like why he didn't end up being as powerful as he was, right? And I mean, obviously, I think it has to do with him not meeting Sylvia. I'm trying to think of her name. Him not meeting Sylvia. So with him not meeting Sylvia, he didn't get the beast will. And because he didn't get her beast will, he didn't get, realm heart. He didn't get all the affinities that come with, opening up the first stage of his beast will, the second stage of his beast will with being able to stop time and stuff. And I guess I didn't really know how big of a factor that played into him being able to use all four of the elements. Like, I thought that he naturally used all four of the elements because of, his experience with Ki and, that type of stuff. That's what I thought, like, mostly played into why he was able to use all four of the elements, all four deviants and everything. But I guess a lot of it was the beast will. That beast will really did power him up, which is crazy because I didn't think the beast will was going to be that important, but it ended up being extremely important because he did not, he only had water and fire, and then he ended up having lightning, no ice, no gravity, no sound. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy that ended up happening. What also surprised me was that Tessia actually ended up being part of the what is it called? The disciplinary committee. It surprised me that Tessia actually got there and didn't get sold off as a slave because of running away, because Arthur wasn't there to save her. So it kind of surprised me that she didn't get actually sold off. So I was surprised by that. But yeah, Arthur ended up getting murked, bro. He ended up getting murked in the cave, in the first dungeon, by the corrupted mana beast, and that was it. But I guess, like, I'm not too surprised because he's got to learn something. You know what I'm saying? He's got to learn something at some point. What's up, Michael? He's got to learn something at some point. And so I'm guessing the biggest reason why is because he ended up losing his memories. He ended up losing his memories of, all the stuff with all the stuff with Ether, being able to see Ether. It was like right after he made the decision to let his parents and the Twin Horns know about the ambush that was going to be happening. It was like right after he made that decision, everything kind of changed at that point. Like, he didn't remember his life back on Earth, which means that he didn't remember, how he was using Ki and stuff. Like, he didn't get the beast will, and he just started to forget about Ether. And so I think that was the big reason why everything kind of changed, is that once he wasn't able to meet Sylvia, then he started losing his memories. That's kind of the biggest thing so far. But as far as this chapter goes, I know that Kara is the point of view just from looking at the first couple sentences or whatever. But hopefully this chapter's good. I hope this chapter's good. I hope it's dope. Nobody said anything about like, oh my God, this chapter's amazing, you gotta check the chapter out. So I'm guessing I'm gonna temper my expectations a little bit. But the chapter should be good though. Because we know with Kara, she ended up, getting her mana suppressed or whatever by Ellie, and so we'll kind of see what happens. Maybe she's hanging out with Alice, because that Ellie's there with Enola and with Seth and stuff. So, but let me just get into the chapter. 468, Manaless, Kara. All right, let's see where this goes. So the palace, okay? Palace was a buzz. See, was a buzz with activity. which was no surprise. Slightly more surprising was the fact that no one had told me to get out or tried to clap me in iron chains yet, but I was thankful they hadn't. They needed the information I could provide because I knew what was coming. Okay, so she's still in what the hell is it? Voldorio. So she's still in Voldorio, and we know that the dragons are gone because they're all going crazy trying to, go to the rift with Cecilia and stuff, and that's kind of their main focus right now. So she's chilling. And I guess she's gonna let, maybe Gideon and Ren, maybe Virion, let them know what's coming. But then again, they kind of do though already, because Byron is in Voldorio, but then he left because he was fighting Cerys and what's our retainer's name? Saurith. So he's got to know what's going on at some point, because he's always around Virion. So if he's not with Virion and he's fighting them, then he's got to know what's going on. So anyway, we'll see what happens. The unplanned for absence of Guardian Vakajor, how did I say his name? I know it's Vachakor is what I was saying, but it might Vajrakor. I'm just saying Vakajor. Whatever. Vakajor's easy. And his cohort of dragons, I had turned to Virion Aerolith. Okay. The de facto leader of the elves, to deliver the news of Agrona's attack. Arthur had left him as military. Ain't that funny? Arthur left him as the military commander. Like, she's got that level of respect. She's like, oh, Arthur left the military command to him. He gave him permission. So I think that's kind of funny. But Arthur had left him as military commander of Voldorio, much to the Dwarven Lord's collective chagrin. Within an hour, he had assembled his war council and began preparing for a potential assault on the city. Okay, so they're preparing. That's cool. Dugar Silvershale, the son of Deglan. I think Dugar was the first one who got one of the upgrades from the staff, one of the runes. I think he was the first one that got one of the runes, and he ended up getting like either a mark. Yeah, I think he ended up getting a mark. He didn't get a crest, so I think he ended up getting a mark. So yeah, I think that's him, if I recall correctly. So anyway, the lord of their clan presented himself before Byron and so this is before. Okay. So we're going back in time a little bit. So this is before Byron left to go fight Cerys and Saurith, because Byron's there. So he presented himself before Byron and Virion as his father looked on proudly. Okay, so at least we know when this takes place. The city is sealed up tight, he said, as Virion acknowledged him. Every entrance grown over with several feet of solid stone, like you said, with the new bunkers in place and any assault funneled through so possible. Wait, hold on. Let me try something really quick. Okay, make it a little bit quieter. So with the new bunkers in place and any assault funneled through so few possible points of attack, the people will be safe. Hornfell's Earthborn added, smiling as if this was the greatest possible news. Deglan Silver, his name is fucking hard to say. Deglan Silvershale cleared his throat. Yes, well, you Earthborns have had 2 whole weeks to make that happen, haven't you? Lance Byron stepped into the middle of the conversation, silencing a potential argument before it could fester. Man, they literally got to play, what is it called? They got to play babysitter to them and their emotions and stuff all the time, because they can never just get along. We're still waiting for confirmation that all the teleportation gates in Voldorio are deactivated, he said, making no effort to disguise his frustration as he looked from silver shales to the Earthborns. It could, or it should have been completed hours ago. Deglan, why do I keep saying his fucking whole name? Just say Deglan, God. Deglan Silvershale cleared his throat. We have disabled the new long-range teleportation gate brought in from Western Darv, as well as all as well as all the short-range portals in the lower levels and the outskirts. The lords believe that keeping the gate here in the palace active is essential. Uh-oh, that's not good. That's not good. The lords believe that... Oh, he was going to say Asuras. I think that's what he was going to say. I think I was going to say Asuras. Lords believe... Martin, what up, though? Shit, haven't heard from you, Martin, in forever. What's up? Shit. Are you caught up? I'm guessing you caught up if you're watching this, so you must be caught up with the latest chapter. But anyway, the lords believe that keeping the gate here in the palace active is essential, and a few of us have private artifacts in our own estates, some of which should be kept in working order. So that the nobility will be able to escape if necessary. Disabling all gates along with sealing the great cavern would trap us within the city, would it not? If what the Alacrian girl has said is true, and we are without both the dragon and Arthur Lewin, then I wouldn't see our beloved home becoming, how the fuck do you say this word? Let's learn how to say this word. Abattoir? Abattoir. A slaughterhouse. I did not know an abattoir is a slaughterhouse. I didn't know that. Abattoir means slaughterhouse. It's British. Interesting. So I would not see our beloved home become a slaughterhouse, but we gotta say abattoir because you know, Turtleme's good with the English language. So anyway, not when we can save some rather than none. I bit my lower lip as the dwarf brought me into it. Hornfells looked sheepish, and this Lord Earthborn Hornfells looked sheepish, and this Lord Earthborn shares the Silver Shales clan. God, Lord, I hate saying the Silver Shales shit. After all, Commander Virian, you yourself have sent your people out of the city for their safety. It will only be proper to leave us a potential escape route should such a thing become necessary. Okay. I won't swallow myself too much. You don't grab something. Okay, so you know about the French word. Okay, you said it's French word. They said it was British. But wait. Yeah, British. That's what it said. You still doing your studies and stuff? Okay, cool. I think you said the last time that you was doing studies and taking classes and stuff like that. Back when you was talking about editing and stuff. But let me continue. Lance Byron rubbed the bridge of his nose, his mana seething around us. He spared a quick glance at Virian and then said, "No portals are to remain accessible for any reason, Lord Silvershell. Deactivate them immediately." So I wonder if they're going to get it deactivated before they can go through, though. I wonder. Because we know that the reason how they're able to teleport and get so many people there at the same time is because they was able to link up whatever the hell with one of the teleportation gates. But I wonder if they're going to get them all deactivated in time. The Dwarven Lord crossed his arms and glowered right back. "This should be decided by committee, General. May I remind you that Commander Aerolith and yourself have no official capacity to give orders in Voldorial. Arthur Lewin, while a great hero, is not king of all Decathlon." I mean, listen, we know he's not king, but who's stronger than him? Who has the strategy? Who has the information about Alacria, and who has the information about Agrona, and who has the information about Ether and just like everything? So see, I just don't understand that, man. I would think more people would be looking to him. I mean, they kind of do, but I would think that more people would be looking to Arthur to be like, oh, what should we do? Looking to him for help and guidance and knowledge or whatever. But these are lords, and so, their egos are big. But yeah, so Byron wants them to shut down the gates. They're keeping one gate open as an escape route. And so that might be their downfall. Maybe this whole point of view we'll get from Kara when Byron actually faces Saris and and what's his name? Shit. Sorry. Maybe before they even fight, they had a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Byron and Kara had a conversation with Ceres before they even fought, and she was explaining things to him, be like, oh yeah, I gotta fight you or whatever, but here's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So maybe when we found out about that, with Byron fighting them, maybe what happened was that they already had a conversation beforehand, and we're just getting the past point of view to like what led up to that. That's what I'm thinking. So he's not king of all Decathlon. Virion gave Silvershale a friendly smile, and the hair on the back of my neck stood on end. You are right, of course. I can't make you do anything, but if you do not deactivate them, Byron here will smash them to rubble. Byron? The serious-looking Lance nodded, and his feet lifted up the ground as he flew toward the doors of the war room. Okay. The Glun paled and sputtered incoherently as he chased after Byron. Wait now, see here, one of those gates is in my estate. Don't you? His words were lost to the general's noise as he raced down the hill after the lance, followed by Dargar, several attendants and members of his clan, and even Hornfell's Earthborn. Virion turned to the next person waiting for his attention, a kind-looking elven woman whose auburn hair was just starting to gray. What news from our people? Saria? I think that's how you say that? Saria, something like that? The woman gave Virion a soft, melancholy smile. They have set up a temporary camp in the forested lands west of Mirror Lake. Aside from some tension with a few farmers, the journey appears to have been blessedly anticlimactic. Good, Virion said, his voice a growl. Then I would like you to join them. Byron will be taking you and a few other members of the small council. Then he will stay to watch over the people there. So wait, he's going to watch over the people. Okay, so like the elves, I guess. Saria, I don't know how you say these goddamn names. Saria, maybe they got a way of pronouncing the name on Google. Let me see. Oh, they even got. Oh, is this the girl from Zelda? Or am I crazy? That name is from Zelda character. I just looked up the name and it got some Zelda character with green hair and got pointy ears and shit. So she was an elf in Zelda. I didn't know that. How the hell you say her name? Is it Zaria? Zaria? Maybe? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to say Zaria. Maybe Zaria's brow shot up and she took half a step back. Others within the war room were pretending not to watch the exchange carefully. Forgive me, Virion. You have always been kind to my family in many ways. The Triskans and the Aeroliths have been like kin, but I would not have you treat me as a child. I may not be my cousin, but neither am I helpless. Please, I would stay. Virion sighed and turned to a stack of scrolls, unrolling one and beginning to purse it. You're worse than Byron. No, Saria. I don't know what I want to say. I guess Saria. I'm gonna say sorry. All right, cool, man. Take care of yourself too. Appreciate you dropping in. But anyway, so what was I saying? I'm gonna say Saria. I think I'm gonna say sorry. Saria. I don't know. I might just go back and forth. So our people. So Virion side. Yeah, you're worse than Byron. Our people need leadership as well and protection. Would that I could be in two places at once? That don't even make sense. Maybe with that I could be in two places at once. But I trust you and Byron to serve well in my stead. The woman bit back her response, gave Virion a shallow bow, and then turned and strolled quickly away. Virion looked up from his scroll, his gaze tracking across the room. No one else was waiting for him, and so he turned his attention to me. And what of you, Kara? Are you certain you want to risk the long journey to the Beast Glades after what has happened? I have to, I said earnestly, thinking about what must be happening in the Alacrian encampments. What would be worse? If Corbat, Lenora, Lauden, and the others had hesitated to fall in line, or if they were readying their weapons to go to war in search of Arthur. Lady Ceres needs to know what I discovered. If I can help the others, one last thing I should ask, I suppose, and I hope you'll forgive me, but you're certain whatever happened, this combustion of your mana will not continue to be a threat? I can't put others in danger if Agrona can use you as a weapon. I bit my lip, considering my words carefully. I can't be certain, Commander Virion. I didn't even know this trap had been set in my very flesh until today. No one did. I'm certain of that. But I can feel how it affected me, like it hollowed me out somehow. My own runes, my magic, feel distant, less mine. So no, I can't be certain, but I feel that the thing inside of me has gone burned up. I should have burned along with it. So perhaps they did not anticipate needing to set it off more than once. See, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe they only can do that once, and then once you're able to get past it using the second rune, but we know all of them don't have a second rune. We know that Ellie has a rune, but we know that I think the only Alacrian who has a second rune is Kara. Like a second rune from the staff through Gideon and stuff. I think that the only person is Kara. So they probably can only use it once. And then also on top of that, I think it's difficult to get it started, or difficult to use, or some preparation is needed. And so they probably need time in order for them to use it or do it again. That's what I'm thinking. So Virion extended his hand and I took it firmly. Arthur trusted you, so I will too. I may not know you well, but I can see you've got a good heart. He said, oh, this is him saying this. Okay, this is him saying this. Hold on one second. Okay. So this is Virion said that. So Virion extended his hand and I took it firmly. Arthur trusted you, and so I will too. I may not know you well, but I can see you've got a good heart, he said, surprising me. That, as much as anything, gives me some small inkling of hope for the future of our two peoples. I'll send word that the long-range teleportation gate can be active briefly. No, they're gonna fuck themselves. Damn. I'll send word that the long-range teleportation gate can be active briefly, just to let you through. We can get you as close as Zyra's Academy, or Zyra's City, although it's still a journey to the wall from there. If you don't mind accepting a suggestion, see if you can link up with the group of adventurers from the guild, since the harsh rumble of an explosion shook the palace and brought dust cascading down from the ceiling. A wave of tension washed over the faces of all present as they turned to Virion. Why did they turn to Virion? He closed his eyes and seemed to be searching with his mana for the source. It's only Byron, he confirmed a moment later. It seems as though Silvershell and the other dwarven lords proved less than accommodating about the portal. So they're having a fight or some shit? He added somewhat harshly. There was some grumbling from the doors in the room, conjuring a palpable tension, and Virion softened. Forgive me, friends. Your people deserve better leadership than they've gotten since the Grey Sunders, but you have all performed admirably. The simple comment seemed to diffuse the tension, and finally Virion returned his attention to me. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Good luck, Lady Dunoir. You too, Commander Virion, I said, feeling slightly awkward as I turned and marched quickly toward the door. Behind me, I heard one of the dwarves say, Commander, a message from Ediston. They spotted Alacrian forces near the city. I slowed, turning back slightly to hear more. Damn it. Get word to Gideon and that Asura. No more time to wait. If they've got some weapon cooked up, they need to mobilize it now. Okay, cool. So this is all before. So this must be all before the fight with Enola Frost and Mela and Seth. So this is before all this even happened. So okay, I didn't know that. I thought that maybe this was just before Byron had had made contact with Ceres, but this is before all this had happened. Just then, a powerful mana signature appeared as if from nowhere, cast across the city like a giant shadow. Oh, okay, so Ceres, so this is when she comes in. So I wonder if they're going to have a conversation before they fight, though. Just then, a powerful mana signature appeared as if from nowhere, cast across the city like a giant shadow. I gasped, spinning my heel to meet Virian's wide eyes. Ceres. The sound of battle followed almost immediately. I didn't wait for the Dicathians. Instead, springing away as fast as I could. My body ached and my core was depleted, but I cast the pain aside. If Ceres was here herself, with Saurith and Lyra of high blood dried, so far as I could sense, then they hadn't known how else to prevent the Alacrian refugees from becoming walking bombs. But Arthur wasn't in Voldorial. He was the objective. Perhaps if I'm able to convince them of that, they can leave without retribution from Agrona, I thought, hopefully. See, but that's the thing, though. If they can't find Arthur, wouldn't they immediately go to the sanctuary? Or, like, they would try to go to everywhere that Arthur's ever been. Or, I don't know. I'm just wondering, how are they going to find them, when they're going to find them. Because I can see this going two ways. If the keystone, with the way that they say it works, is that you can't leave the keystone unless you get the insight, right? So if that's true, if we're going to take that as fact, then Arthur cannot leave and do anything to defend himself until he gets the insight from the keystone. I guess it is a possibility that maybe he can do something to shield himself while he's in there. Maybe he can learn something and figure out some way to shield himself or something. Or maybe they find where he's at, and then like Regis and Sylvie can protect him for a little bit. But I see this happening two ways. Either, because there's no way he's not gonna get the insight. So either he could possibly get killed while he's in there because Sylvie or Regis can't protect him, or I see him just not getting killed but taking too long to get the insight, and then maybe the situation even gets worse than what it is right now. Like maybe his family dies, or maybe just a lot of people he cares about just dies. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, he could die too. He really could. But yeah, I pretty much see him either getting the insight and being able to stop all this shit from happening, or he ends up dying before he can even get the insight. Or maybe the third option will be that he just takes too long. But anyway, I don't even know why I even got into that, because I was just thinking about how are they going to find him, because they got to find him at some point. They got to. Okay, so yeah, hopefully she can get them to leave without retribution from Agrona. By the time I had exited the palace, Alacrian soldiers were already streaming from a partially collapsed tunnel into one of the Dwarven clan's personal residences. Dicathian soldiers were hurrying out of the palace ahead of me, forming up across the road above the breach, preventing the Alacrians from coming this way. Yeah, Dicathian soldiers, right. The response from below was slower. Most of Voldorial's soldiers had been arranged in support of the sealed-off gateways into and out of the city, as well as at my reading's fucked up. As well as at strategic defensive positions to protect infrastructure and civilians. The flow of Alacrians wasn't exactly rampant, with the tunnel they were exiting from half collapsed, but Ceres and the other two retainers must have arrived first, paving the way for the others. Now Ceres and Saurith were engaged with Byron over the city. Even as I watched Byron, let's get some fighting from Byron, and let's see how good this motherfucker is. All right. Now Ceres and Saurith were engaged with Byron over the city. Even as I watched Byron unleash attacks at the cavern wall, attempting to close off the tunnel from which the Alacrian soldiers were issuing. Right. But clouds, oh fuck, Ceres. Clouds of dark mist, Ceres' void technique, absorbed every one of his lightning blasts before they could land. I stood frozen, unsure what to do next. Okay, so he's trying to close off the portal to stop anybody else from coming through, but they've already gone through. Enola, they've already gone through already. And so, damn. Didn't Arthur leave traps in his area? I don't know. I don't think he left traps. I think he left, what is it called? Like decoys. I think they were just decoys. I don't remember him setting up traps. I remember it just being decoy. Because I mean, what kind of trap will he set up? It's not like he can like store ether into something and then have it activate. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't have that ability yet. I'm pretty sure he can figure that shit out, but I don't think he has that ability yet. So I don't think he set up traps. I think it was mostly just the decoys at all the different locations. But I could be wrong. But I don't think it was. I don't think it was any traps or anything. It was just decoys with his mana signature and, you know, that type of stuff. Or not mana signature, but ether signature, I guess. So she was unsure what to do next. Was my blood down there fighting for Agrona? Or had they resisted and met the fate that would have taken me if not for my new spell form and Ellie? I couldn't reach Ceres while she was fighting the lance. Even if I'd had the energy to fight, I couldn't turn against either the Alacrians under Ceres, most of whom I had served with throughout the short-lived rebellion, or the Dicathians that allowed me to live among them. So she's kind of in a shitty situation because she doesn't want to attack or fight the Alacrians because she grew up with them, and she also don't want to fight the Dicathians because they accepted her and let her in and stuff. So she's in a precarious situation. Waves of magic drawn in the air like lines of black noise spilled across the battlefield below. Retainer Lyra, as the foundations of an idea churned sluggishly to life in my head, I began sprinting down the highway with the forces still trickling out of the dwarven palace. I hadn't gone 5 steps before another problem presented itself. I slowed well before the fighting, not wanting to get caught up in it. Lyra's flame-red hair was visible like a battle flag near the center of the Alacrian forces. The Voldorian soldiers were launching spells and mundane attacks from both sides, but Lyra countered many of them all by herself. Alacrian strikers were driving into the Dicathians. Trying to burst through the line. Lyra! I shouted, but she gave no indication of hearing me. The sounds of battle, spellfire, shouted orders, and the screams of the wounded swallowed my voice before it could reach her. And yet, it was far too great a risk to try and press through the front lines, where I could be mistaken as an enemy combatant by the soldiers on either side. Okay, so that makes sense. So she doesn't have any mana, so she's not very strong. I wouldn't say defenseless, but she's not very strong. Not him, but that Asura scientist left traps before you went in. Oh, you're talking about Ren. Maybe. I don't remember. That's what I'm going to say, Micah. I don't remember if Ren left any traps. I really don't. But I haven't reread a bunch of chapters, so I don't know. You could be right. I really don't know. I typically don't reread a whole lot of Tbate just because I've read so much of it, especially like in the past or whatever, so I really don't reread a whole lot. But you could be right. So she shot her for Lyra. The risk was too great. The little mana I had drawn in and purified since the detonation of my runes. Wait, so does she not have her runes anymore? She said that they detonated. So like, are they destroyed? Like does she literally have no access to her runes anymore? I reached for the emblem. Okay, no, that's wrong. She still has them. So with the little men I had drawn in and purified since the detonation of my runes, I reached for the emblem that empowered my wind attribute spell. So she still has her runes because she's got the emblem, which we know that the one rune that she got was a regalia. So anyway, so the emblem that empowered her wind attribute spells. Fatigue burned bright behind my temples in response, but the magic only flickered. A stream of boiling water arced over the front lines of Dicathans and fell among the mages, sizzling against the stonework only a few feet from me. At the same time, the highway trembled beneath my feet as below a huge boulder of ice crashed down into the forces intended to block the lower direction. Before I could gather the strength to attempt another casting, a shockwave of subaudible noise slammed against the Dicathian lines, tossing dozens upon dozens of dwarves and their human and elven allies to the ground. I wonder if that's Lyra, because Lyra uses wind, and the deviant version of wind is sound. Alacrian mages forged up the highway toward me, sprinting right past the prone soldiers. "Into the palace!" Lyra's voice sounded, issuing from the air itself as if she were standing right beside me. "Search every room, every level. We must find Arthur Lewin." Behind me, the elite palace guard, all mages, moved into position across the palace entrance. They held up rune-etched shields and worked in concert to conjure a magical barrier over the heavy doors, which were being dragged shut behind them. Making a decision, I rushed forward, weaving between the retreating Dicathians, who were being pushed back by the sudden surge. If only I could reach Lyra, I could... "Kara!" My gaze snapped around, searching the lines of charging Elacrians. It was with a mixture of relief and horror that I met the eyes of my adoptive mother, Lenora Corbett. Lenora. Corbett was with her, as well as Tajan and Arian, my protectors. Oh, yeah. The ones that she always had with her. The one big bulky guy or whatever, and then the one dude with the sword. Okay, so yeah, I haven't heard from them in a minute. I recognized soldiers and guards of the Denoir blood interspread throughout the... I wonder what she's going to say to them, because I wonder if they're going to be like, "Oh, do you know where Arthur is? We need to find him." And then they're going to be like, "Oh, no, I don't know where he is. I hope you find him." I don't know what she's going to do. I recognize soldiers and guards of the Denoir blood interspersed throughout the surrounding battle groups as well. Fortifying myself with a deep breath, I plunged onward, dodging the occasional spell and avoiding Dicathians as best as I could. My adoptive blood was slowing. Other battle groups rushing onward, flowing around them in a tide of magic and steel. Behind, though, the Dicathian soldiers knocked down by the sonic blast were slowly getting back to their feet. "Arthur isn't here!" I found myself shouting as soon as I was close enough to make myself heard clearly. "Fall back! He isn't in Vodorio!" But how would they know that, though? Because she could be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could be lying, so I don't think they're going to just take her word for it and then just retreat. "Vitra's horns! Kara, you're alive!" Lenora gushed, wrapping me in her arms. She was sobbing, I realized, and a cool dread drew in my chest. "Where is Lawden?" Corbett looked. "Isn't Lawden her brother? Didn't he die?" Corbett, looking out of place in his ill-fitting leather armor and wielding a shield and spear, blinked several times and wouldn't look directly at me. "It would seem you and the Scythe Ceres, Lady Ceres, inspired in your brother a reckless courage, Kara. Corbett hesitated, but I already knew what he was going to say. I swallowed down the conflicted emotions Lawden's sacrifice conjured within me. There would be time to face them later, if we survived. Well, she knows that Lawden died, so that's messed up. But, I mean, a groaner, man. A groaner. That's all I can say, really. It's just a groaner. But, you have to fall back, I forced on. Retreat from the city if you can. Take your men, as many as will follow you. The mask of pain on Corbett's face cracked. Did you not hear me? Your brother is already dead, and you will have us meet the same fate? There is no refusing this, Kara. He suddenly regarded me with suspicion. Although this does not seem true for everyone equally. Okay, so he knows that not everyone can act the same. Like, some people can get away with a little bit more than others. Lenora stepped in front of him, scowling viciously. By the virtue of Corbett, use that blistering intellect that brought me to love you. Oh shit, she called him out. Like, oh, fucking use your brain. Shit. He stared at her, affronted. Farther down the road, the front line of the Dicathians had been cornered into a knot. Now surrounded by our people, the Alacrians who exited the collapsed tunnel were dispersing out into the city with only taken opposition. Please, listen to me, I begged him, something I couldn't recall ever doing in my adult life. I heard the message, and your mission here is already complete, Father. Arthur isn't here. I swear it on my life. As the word father left my lips, Corbett's expression softened. Of course, I see. He glanced around at the... Has she ever even called him father? I know she said that she calls Lenora mother because, you know, she can kind of like use that to kind of get away with some things, you know. But I don't remember her ever calling him father, though. He glanced around the perimeter of the battle groups who had hesitated to move forward without him. All members and servants of the Denoir blood. Men, fall back to the portal. Fall back. Your quarry isn't in the city. Or our quarry isn't in the city. Okay. I suppressed a surprised smile as Lenora wove her arm through mine. Arian gave me a small nod and a quick wink, while Tegan glowered around at the battle still unfolding above and below us on the highway. A big hammer clutched in two white-knuckled fists. If I can reach Lyra Dryad, I can. A bolt of black and blue flames streaked into our midst, exploding against a quickly conjured shield only inches away. I felt myself lift up off the ground and land hard before rolling. With hardly any mana to protect me, the impact with that hard stone felt like being trampled by a herd of Wogarts. So wait, so somebody conjured a shield to protect her. Okay. But she still got lifted up off the ground and she hit the ground again. So Corbett had been driven to his knees while Arian had managed to catch Lenora. Tegan rushed forward, putting himself between my blood and the attacker, but then he hesitated. There was a glint of flickering silver wire too fast for a shield to form, and blood spurt. Who the fuck is this? Silver wire? Could it be Clive or Clyde or whatever the fuck that one dude's name is? I don't know. I'm thinking about the one dude with the glasses who pretended to be Dicathan back in Xyrus, and then he ended up working with Agrona and from Alacria, whatever that dude's name was. I forget his name. I'm thinking that it might be him, but like, maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. So Corbett had been driven to his knees while Arian had managed to catch Lenora. Tegan rushed forward, putting himself between my blood and the attacker, but then he hesitated. There was a glint of flickering silver wire, too fast for a shield to form, and blood spurted from Tegan's throat. The big warrior looked down at the blood spilling over his chest in confusion. Then one hand pressed against his neck. Realization hit him too late, and his hammer clunked against the ground, followed quickly by his knees as he collapsed. No, I breathed out, the effort sending a sharp pain through my ribs and chest. Still on the ground, I followed the line of Tegan's dead eyes stare to my great uncle. Wait, who? Her great uncle. Oh, that's the one dude who wanted to be in charge of the family, and they wouldn't let him. So it was him? I followed the line of Tegan's dead eyes stare to my great uncle Justus, whatever. His hair and thick goatee had gone a little more gray since the last I'd seen him. His dark eyes flared with rage. Unlike Corbett, Justus wore an ornate armor and carried a beautiful sword at his hip. A silver-thin filament of silver wire orbited around him. What in the abyss do you think you're doing? Lenora snapped, causing Arian to pull her back and shift his footing to ensure he was in front of her. Explain yourself, Justus. I think it's Justus. I mean, that's how it's spelled. It's Justus. Give us one reason not to. Another blue-black ball of fire leapt at them, But several shields appeared this time, absorbing it all. My focus seemed to fade in and out as I searched for the caster, and when I found her, I could hardly believe what I was seeing. Aunt Milita, I think that's how you say it, was holding another flame in her hand. So literally, they're being attacked by their own fucking family. Blood, to say. So she was holding another flame in her hand. The expression of purest hatred on her face would have been enough to take my breath away if I had caught it to begin with. Milita? Corbett said in disbelief. He scanned the mages who had gathered around Justice, triggering me to do the same. They were Denoir soldiers and several members of our extended blood. Don't you dare speak to me, High Lord Denoir, she snarled, her voice like a scythe through the noise of combat. Looking Corbett in the eye, she spit on the ground. You've destroyed us! You and that witch, Ceres! Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. I was wondering if it was something else. So it was just because of what they chose to do. What happened? Corbett asked, his tone dark with dread. Tears leaked from Milita's eyes. Somebody must have died. Her entire body clenched like a fist. I thought she was going to throw another fireball, but instead, the tension burst out of her in a choked yell. Arden is dead, you bastard! And call Arlo, my husband and children, dead because of you. Because you chose to fight against a god. Corbett paled. Damn! So no wonder she pissed. I'd be pissed too, so I get it. I get it. Her husband's dead, her children dead. Damn. Corbett paled. The Denoir blood had always been aggressively political, and the relationships between blood members fraught with tension. But Corbett and Arden had always remained Was Arden? Hold on. Was Arden like the one uncle that Kara had liked that was like big? He was like a big belly, like a little overweight, but that motherfucker had a regalia, and he always seemed like he was a little weak, but he did that on purpose so that way people would not take him so seriously. I think that was the one uncle that she liked, Arden. I think that's the one uncle that she really liked, and she always called him Uncle Arden or something like that. And yeah, and they had like the two little kids, I remember. They were like playing around back at their estate and stuff, and damn, that's messed up. That really is. I feel, man. I feel for him. Corbett paled. The Denoir blood had always been aggressively political, and the relationships between blood members fraught with tension. But Corbett and Arden had always remained steadfastly loyal to one another. And the little ones? Calm? Arlo? Who would harm children? I asked, but my voice was lost beneath the waves of sound issuing from the... They got killed by a Grona. Grona don't give a fuck. But my voice was lost beneath the waves of sound issuing from the battle, both above and below us. The moment you sided with Ceres, you damned high-blood Denoir, Justice said, coiling the silver wire tightly. But I will reclaim our honor, first by killing you and all of your traitors unarmed, and then by finding and delivering Arthur Lewin to the High Sovereign. He slashed, bruh, I mean, good luck, bruh. He slashed with his hands, and the silver filament flashed. Shields sprang up, and spells exploded from both sides. Both sides charged, and suddenly a third front to the battle erupted. Except this one was Alacrian against Alacrian. Blood against blood. A shockwave knocked me back again, and I felt myself roll several times before sliding to a stop. So that's crazy too, because Kara's not even at full strength at all. Because if Kara was at like somewhere near full strength, she would be able to really help out and give them a big advantage, you know, because of how strong she is. She's probably stronger than all they asked, to be completely honest with you. But because she's kind of disabled at the moment, she can't really fight. So a shockwave knocked me back again, and I felt myself roll several times before sliding to a stop. I reached for my new spell form, and the flames danced across my skin, but the effect was weak, and the effort conjured a screaming pain from my core. Desperately, I searched down the highway for Lyra. If she stepped in, the fighting would have to stop. But there had been a surge of dwarven troops from the city center, and they were pushing up the highway. They had nearly reached the tunnel, still issuing Elacrian soldiers, and she was occupied fending them off. The fight between Ceres, Salrith, and Byron had moved out of sight. Although I could still feel the waves of their power crashing against one another in the distance, Ceres or Salrith could not help me either. Slowly I stood. Corbett was locked in a battle with Justice. Okay, so Corbett is against Justice. Lenora fended off spells from Milita. Arian was engaged with 2 Denoir strikers, and soldiers on both sides fought and died all around them. The crimson blade of my sword rang as it lit beneath its sheath. 2 of the silver shards ejected from my bracer and then began to orbit around me, and I strode forward with a calm I didn't feel. A woman I recognized as one of Justice's personal guards charged at me, a frosted steel axe held firmly in both hands. Again, I imbued mana into my new spell form, pushing more forcefully this time, and flames spilled out of me, racing along the ground toward the woman. The smoke and fire twisted and danced around me while forming into several burning silhouettes, identical in shape to me. The striker hesitated, her focus shifting rapidly between the different apparitions. My blade hissed as it cut the air, and she whirled and brought up her axe, catching the blow. At the same time, a lance of black fire burned into the woman's calf and from one of my orbitals. She screamed and went down on one knee, and I kicked her in the chest, sent her sprawling. Shit. Fucking her up. Shit. Stop this, I shouted, trying to imbue my voice with command. Lay down your arms and listen. We've listened to you too much already, Milita screamed, turning her flames on me, even as my own illusionary fire was fading. As her fireball launched toward me, a shield of rapidly whirling dark mana appeared to deflect it back at her. She had to dodge out of the way, and one of their own soldiers was engulfed unexpectedly. Then blood sprayed the ground, and Corbett fell, a long, snaking gash down his leg. Justice didn't wait to savor his victory, but turned his attention onto me. You are just as culpable as your adoptive father, you selfish, traitorous girl. Even as he spoke, his silver wire was flashing toward me. I batted it aside, but the force of the blow made me stumble back. Lenora had bent over Corbett, wrapping them. So Corbett's down, bruh. Sheesh. So Lenora had bent over Corbett, wrapping them both in a protective barrier, and no other shield was nearby to protect me. When the next strike came, my block was even more desperate, and I was quickly forced back across the highway. The plunging edge loomed in my periphery, and I suddenly realized my back was to a 100-foot fall to the next level of houses. So, okay, so she's on the ropes. She's up against the cliff. I blocked again, and then suddenly the silver wire had wrapped around my crimson sword. With a sharp tug, the blade went flying. Man, she seems so weak right now. Holy hell. So with a sharp tug, the blade went flying, clattering over the stone too far away for me to reach. Lenore had realized what was happening by now and struggled to come to my aid, but Milita once again had her pinned down, and it was all she could do to keep herself and Corbett from being burned to ash. Justice's cold, hate-filled eyes stabbed into my own. For high blood Denoir, he said proudly, and his spell flashed. A thin rapier caught it. Okay. Deflecting the wire and preventing it from cutting my throat. Is this Ellie, maybe? Oh no, Arian. Arian flourished his weapon, appearing as if from nowhere to step fully in front of me. Apologies for the delay, my lady. I should have come to your aid sooner. The wire coiled and snapped at Arian like a sovereign cobra, but my protector's rapier flashed with blinding speed as he blocked again and again, seeming more than a match for Justice. A fireball exploded directly in front of us. A rapidly cast shield absorbed part of the blow and kept the heat from incinerating us, but Arian was lifted off his feet and thrown into me. I fell backwards, feeling my feet leave the solid ground. The road's edge rose up and away from me as I plummeted beneath it. In pure desperation, I scrambled to hold on to Arian, who was falling with me. Despite the buffeting wind of our fall whistling past, he twisted with cat-like grace, wrapping his arms around me and turning our bodies. I realized too late what he meant to do. So he was going to use his body to cushion the blow from hitting the ground. Despite the buffeting wind of our fall whistling past, he spent like a cat-like grace, or twisted like a cat-like grace, wrapping his arms around me and turning our bodies. I realized too late what he meant to do. But he had crushed my body to his and was supporting my head and neck against his chest. Mana wrapped around him and infused his muscles, extending slightly out to me. I shut my eyes. The darkness went red, and I understood only pain as all the air left my lungs. Everything was ringing and moving, and I felt the contents of my stomach erupting up my esophagus. The physical sensation drew my attention to my body, specifically its individual parts, all of which were now in agony. And yet the fact that I felt pain at all meant I wasn't done. I struggled to open my eyes. I was laying on my side, and the first thing I saw was Arian. Blood leaked from his mouth and pooled around his head. His eyes were closed, but there was an uneven rising and falling of his chest. So this motherfucker's still alive. Okay. I experienced no sense of time as I lay there unmoving, thinking only that I needed to get up and needed to help him, but lacked the ability to do so. I was struggling to breathe, and through all the pain, I could almost feel my pulse weakening. My body is in shock, I deduced with the air of one discovering a new aspect of magic. I began honing my senses in on my limbs one at a time. First, I wiggled my toes. Wiggle your big toe. Reminds me of Kill Bill. I began honing my senses on my limbs one at a time. First, I wiggled my toes, then rolled my ankles. When I moved my legs, pain shot through my hips and back. Next, I moved my arms, and finally, I rolled onto my stomach. So her legs are really messed up because she moved her legs and she just got a ton of pain. Burning claws of agony drove into my abdomen and chest, and I was sick again. Shaking, I pushed myself up, first to my hands and knees and then wobbling onto my feet. It was a minor miracle that my legs held my weight, but they did. I stumbled and had to support myself against the wall of a carved stone house, but I didn't fall. Movement farther down the street, I landed on pulled my head around, which caused it to swim dangerously and my balance to falter. I leaned my back against the wall and closed my eyes, waiting for the spinning to stop. When I could open them again, I watched a familiar figure with ash-brown hair vault over a rooftop with a white arrow, that's Ellie, with a white arrow of pure mana launched from her bow. Taking deep breaths, each one of which made my chest thrum with a deeply inset pain, I cleared my head and pushed myself away from the wall. My only thought was to reach her. Ellie would help me. Alice could heal Arian, couldn't she? The walk down the street seemed to take a lifetime. The noise of battle was everywhere, but there was no fighting directly around me. The road carved onto the cavern wall, and I lost sight of Ellie. It wasn't until I rounded the bend, clearing a row of dwarven homes, that I saw her again. I stopped, wobbling again as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Kids, I said out loud, certain it was a hallucination or some trick of my injury, because it looked to me as if Ellie had taken a handful of the students from Central Academy prisoner. But why would they be in Vildoria? She got prisoners, man! Holy crap. Everything snapped into place. Eleanor, I gasped, stumbling toward her. She looked away from her prisoners and let out a horrified gasp, taking a couple of halting steps toward me before remembering to keep her arrow trained on the students. Kara, but what happened? Are you... She snapped out of her stupor. We need to get you to my mom. To the students, she said. Pick up your friend. Come on. You're prisoners of war now. My mom's a healer. The students seemed confused and uncertain, but as Ellie let down her bow and rushed to me, taking some of my weight, they complied. Arian, my guardian, he needs... Mana rushed into me as Ellie activated her spell form, easing the aching of my core. Without conscious effort, the mana then seeped out into my body, helping to ease the pain. Okay, I faded in and out as I sighed onto Ellie in relief. Ellie has stepped up so much, yo. Like, she's literally like Arthur in training. You know, what is she like? She's like 14 now, or almost 14. It's crazy, man. She's like already getting like more experience, hardened. Like, she's not letting stuff distract her. You know, she was like, oh, I gotta remember to keep my arrow on the students just in case they try to get away or something. Man, if this story was going on longer, I could see Ellie just be like legit, like 21-year-old Ellie being a powerhouse. But I don't think the story's gonna go that long to where she could be 21 and be that strong. So she faded in and out. The students and Ellie exchanged a few words, but I didn't comprehend them. We crossed paths with the other Alacrians, but they looked at me and passed us by. Then we met Dicathians giving chase, but they looked at Ellie and left us alone as well. They looked at Ellie and was like, Ellie, you got this? Okay, cool. You know, they didn't even second guess it. They're like, oh, Ellie's got that. Okay, cool. We took a winding, difficult path downward, avoiding the main highway, which was fraught with combat. I could see the Earthborn Institute and beyond it, the lower levels of the cavern, when the trembling began. Like an earthquake, it ran through the entire cavern at once. Far below, a perfectly circular hole opened up in the floor at the lowest level. Barely visible to me, I squinted, thinking perhaps the hole was in my vision, but something was coming out of it. What the fuck's coming out of the hole? Again, thought it must be the shock or perhaps a concussion, but then the others began speaking as well. Virtuous horns, what is that? Is it some kind of beast? But isn't that a person? Look, there are more of them. Wait, a beast but a person? Abyss, take us. Look how many. Knowing I wasn't seeing things, I looked closer. The first creature to crawl out of the hole was lizard-like. A lizard-like creature. Though it walked on two hind legs. Wait, are they the skitters? Are they the little skitter things that can like be used to like, you know, carry people and stuff? Though it walked on two hind legs, half again as tall as a man, except the mana beast seemed to be only an organic compound or an organic component of something else. Glowing veins traced its scales, which were pale gray, as if bleached of all color. The chest was covered in a thick, rune-etched plate of blue-gray metal. Wait, bro, have they made like armor? They armored the skitters? Maybe gave them more stamina and stuff so they can like maybe haul heavier things and maybe, you know, run faster and longer or something. I think they're called like skitters or some shit, right? The chest was covered in thick rune-etched plate of blue-gray metal, but the stomach was open, revealing a mechanical substructure beneath the organic surface, shielded by a gently glowing layer of transparent mana. The lower jaw had been removed. What the fuck? Revealing more of the translucent mana. Through it, I could barely see the concentrating face of a young man. Wait, what? I could barely see the concentrating face of a young man, his eyes hidden behind a rune-etched band. His arms, too, were slightly visible through the gaps. Oh, so it's not a skitter. It's a fucking... It's something that they made. Like a, I don't know. What is it called? Like a Power Ranger, like, suit of armor, like Iron Man or some shit? That's crazy, yo. I didn't expect that at all. It could barely see the concentrating face of a young man, his eyes hidden behind a rune-etched band. His arms, too, were slightly visible through the gaps within the organic. That's crazy as hell. I did not think that they was gonna make fucking, like, what would you call these things? Like, I don't know, like Iron Man suits or some shit. That's the only thing I can think of that makes sense. Though you can barely see the concentrated face of a young man, his eyes hidden behind a rune-etched band. His arms, too, were slightly visible through the gaps with the organic mana beast's flesh and underlying structure of gray-blue metal, where more translucent mana protected the inner arms of the mana beast. But they keep on saying mana beast, so is it a mana beast? I wasn't sure what to call it. Armor, exoskeleton of some sort. Clutched in one overlarge clawed fist was a sword too big for unadorned to completely or comfortably wield, but which fit the large mana beast perfectly. Is that a person? Ellie asked with a shiver. There's no mana coming from them, but yet they're releasing such a strong aura. But how? My tongue felt thick in my mouth as I spoke. So this is Gideon's secret project. Yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that. They got literally armored, organically made mana beast suits. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it seemed like, so he didn't have a mana signature. So these must be regular soldiers and not like mages. So these motherfuckers can compete with some mages, man. That's crazy. I wonder how many though. Maybe like a dozen, maybe like a dozen. Not a lot. It couldn't be a lot, but like, that's wild. That's crazy. I wonder what this thing can do, yo. What this motherfucker can do. That's probably, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I wonder what type of metal they got, because they gotta get some type of metal or something to be strong enough to, like, you know, to withhold, like, you know, attacks and stuff. I'm pretty sure that sword can cut through a bunch of mana. That's crazy. But that's cool though. Yeah, like a transformer. But it's not a transformer because you got to be able to fit somebody in it. You can't really fit somebody into Transformers. So that's why I said like an Iron Man suit or some shit. You know, somebody can go inside and they're just got this, you know, advanced technological beast, mana beast, armored exoskeleton creature. Like, that's crazy as hell. I did not expect that. That's wild, man. I really wonder how many they got. It can't be that many. I would say like a dozen or so. But if they got like 100, oh, that would be the shit. If they had 100, that would be a force. But they probably don't have that many. I'm gonna say like a dozen or so. But this was cool, man. It's like, see, this is more like a setup chapter though. It's kind of setting some more things up. We need another chapter. But this is cool though. Mecha, yeah, like a mech or some shit. You know, I was thinking like Power Rangers or some shit. But that's cool though. That's cool as hell. That's the shit that Gideon and Ren was working on. That's wild. I didn't expect that at all. I did not expect that at all. But that's cool, man. This chapter was dope. I enjoyed this chapter. This chapter was cool. I mean, with everything that happened with, you know, Corvette's messed up. We know that, you know, they're having a fight, you know, Denoir against Denoir, blood against blood. Didn't see that coming. And then Milita's kids all being killed. That's messed up. And then what else? That's really about it. And then you got Arian or whatever. He protected Kara and he's messed up. And then, you know, they're gonna probably find Alice. And I wonder if Gideon made something that can like heal people on the spot, right? So like, you know how Alice had gave Arthur those beads, right? He gave her those you know, he had like the glove and he had like those 3 little beads that had her mana or whatever in it. And then he just break one of them and give you like it give you like a first aid patch up type of thing. I wonder if they can like mass produce those, and you know, maybe Alice was helping out or something like that, and give them like some first aid like crystal beads or some shit like that. So whenever somebody gets injured and it might be critical, they can just break one of those beads or crystals or something like that and get like some, you know, some quick first aid to keep them alive long enough to fully get healed. That would be incredibly powerful, you know. But other than that, this is a cool chapter. I give this chapter like an 8, just because there was some things that surprised me with the Denoir fight against Denoir. That surprised me, And then there's Mecha, the fucking Mecha Beast, Mana Beast armor suit, fucking Transformer, fuck Iron Man suit. Like, that's crazy as hell. That's crazy as hell. So this is cool, man. But anyway, I'm about to end the stream. I appreciate you guys joining in. Leave me a like to definitely help out the channel and shit. I appreciate all the likes that you guys be giving. And man, thanks for joining in the stream. And I should be getting a review of one of the other books I've been reading up pretty soon, because I'm really trying to do the whole booktuber, giving some more like reviews, maybe giving some more recommended shit to read, stuff like that. The series I just ended up finishing was the Emperor Blade series or whatever. I ended up reading those three books, and I had a lot of enjoyment out of that series. So I might make some videos about that series that I had read. It's like a trilogy, got 3 books or whatever, and it was some good moments in that series. So it was the ending. I didn't really like how the ending went. I felt like there should be a 4th book, but there's nothing I can do about that. But anyway, but that's about it. I always try to give like some hint of like the future, what I'm gonna be doing. So review. I'm gonna try to get some more reviews, some book reviews and things like that. I know I still need to do a stream or something reading what is it called? The one story or whatever. But I'll do that at some point. But anyway, appreciate y'all joining in. Y'all have a good night, man. Peace.